The biker laughed when he slapped the old man. He had no idea the most powerful woman in the Navy was about to walk in. It was a quiet morning in a small-town diner. The smell of pancakes filled the air, and people sat at their tables sipping coffee and talking softly. Near the back, a 90-year-old janitor named Mr. Howard slowly swept the floor. His hands were shaky, his back was bent, but his eyes were kind. He wore a faded brown uniform and an old army cap that no one really looked at him. Some didn't even notice he was there. Then the door slammed open. A tall, loud man in a leather jacket walked in. His arms were covered in tattoos, and he wore dark sunglasses even though it wasn't sunny. He looked around and laughed loudly. "What's this, Grandpa cleaning the floor?" he shouted, pointing at Mr. Howard. People turned their heads. Some looked uncomfortable, but no one said anything. Mr. Howard kept sweeping, pretending not to hear. The biker walked over to him and kicked a napkin across the floor. "Hey, old man, you missed a spot." He laughed, making some of the younger men at the front chuckle. Mr. Howard bent down slowly to pick up the napkin. His knees cracked as he moved, but he didn't complain. "Shouldn't you be in a nursing home or something?" the biker said, now standing over him. "You're what, 100 years old?" Mr. Howard softly replied. "Just doing my job, sir." The biker smirked. "Job? You can barely walk straight. You're just wasting space." Then he did something no one expected. He slapped the napkin out of Mr. Howard's hand and pushed him lightly on the shoulder. Mr. Howard stumbled back a little, but didn't fall. Still, the diner went silent. A mother covered her son's eyes. A man at the counter looked down in shame. No one stood up. Not one person said a word. Mr. Howard looked at the biker, his lips trembling, his eyes full of quiet pain. He didn't cry, he didn't speak. He just turned around and went back to sweeping. The biker shook his head and muttered, "Pathetic," before sitting down and calling for a burger. The room stayed quiet. No one knew someone was about to walk in who would change everything. 20 minutes passed. The biker sat at his table, laughing on his phone and eating loudly. Mr. Howard kept cleaning quietly, wiping tables, picking up crumbs, and pushing the mop slowly across the floor. His hands were shaking a little more now. But he didn't stop. Then the front door opened again. The bell above it gave a soft ding. A woman walked in, tall, strong, calm. She wore a dark blue military uniform with silver pins and shining medals across her chest. Her boots made a firm sound with every step. Her hat was tucked under her arm, and her eyes were sharp like a soldier's. But something else was there too. Sadness or worry. Everyone turned to look at her, even the biker paused. She looked around the diner slowly. Her eyes stopped when she saw the old janitor wiping a booth near the back. Her face changed, relief mixed with something deeper. She walked straight to him. "Dad," she said softly. Mr. Howard looked up, surprised. His lips moved slightly. "Olivia?" The biker froze mid-bite. The woman turned around to face the room. "My name is Admiral Olivia Howard," she said loud and clear. Her voice filled the diner like a storm, but calm and steady. "And this man right here is my father." No one moved. The biker slowly put his fork down. She looked at her father's hands. They were red from scrubbing. His shoulder was shaking. She noticed the napkin still lying on the floor. "What happened here?" she asked, her voice low now. Cold. No one answered. She turned her head. Her eyes locked onto the biker. "You," she said. "Did you touch my father?" The biker sat back in his chair. "It was just a joke." "I didn't know." "You didn't need to know," she said sharply. "You saw an old man, so you mocked him, pushed him." He stood up, trying to laugh it off. "Look, I didn't mean harm. I didn't know he had a daughter in uniform, or soul at all." She interrupted. Her voice was soft now, but dangerous. The whole diner was dead silent. Even the cook stopped frying. Mr. Howard stood quietly behind her, his eyes low. She turned to the crowd. "My father served this country for 30 years. He was a soldier long before I wore this uniform. He saved lives. He bled for people who never knew his name." Then she looked back at the biker. "And you will apologize, now." The biker's mouth opened, but no words came out. Admiral Olivia took a slow step forward, her boots tapping against the floor. Her voice stayed calm, but her eyes were locked onto him like a laser. "You see an old man, I see my hero." She turned to the silent crowd. "Let me tell you what my father did," she said. "Many years ago, during a rescue mission overseas, my father, Sergeant William Howard, led a team of 6 soldiers into a burning village to pull out a group of hostages. When his team got surrounded, he stayed behind to hold off the enemy alone, so they could escape." Gasps were heard. She continued, her voice full of pride. "He was captured, tortured, starved, but he never gave up a single name. He came back a hero, but he never talked about it, not once. Mr. Howard stood behind her, eyes lowered. His hands were shaking, but this time, not from weakness. From emotion. The biker slowly stood looking down. His tough face began to crumble. "I didn't know," he whispered. "Exactly," Admiral Olivia said. "You didn't ask. You didn't care. You just saw someone old and thought that made him weak." The biker's voice cracked. "I'm sorry. Truly. I was wrong." "Say it to him," she said, stepping aside. The biker turned to Mr. Howard, voice low and ashamed. "I'm sorry, sir. I was cruel, and I don't deserve your forgiveness. But I hope one day I can earn it." Mr. Howard looked up gently. His voice was soft. "Respect starts when you stop judging by what you see." Then something incredible happened. The cook stepped out from behind the counter and stood up straight. He placed his hand over his heart. A waitress followed. Then 2 men at the booth. Then the young mother with her child. One by one, every person in the diner stood and faced Mr. Howard. Some saluted. Some placed hands on their chest, and the biker, he stepped back. Then slowly dropped to one knee. The Admiral said nothing more. She just placed her hand on her father's shoulder and whispered, "Let's go home." As they walked out together, the door closed behind them, but no one sat down. The room stayed quiet for a long time. Because in that moment, everyone had just met a real hero. The diner slowly returned to its usual rhythm, but something had changed. People didn't just see an old janitor anymore. They saw a warrior, a father, a silent hero who had carried the weight of service on his shoulders without ever asking for thanks. And the biker, he left that day with his head low, his pride shattered, but maybe, just maybe, a little wiser. Because sometimes, true strength doesn't wear armor. It wears a mop, a faded cap, and a lifetime of sacrifice. And sometimes, the quietest man in the room is the one who once made the loudest stand. If this story touched you, even just a little, don't forget to share it with someone who needs to hear it, and hit that subscribe button for more true strength stories like this.